Hello everybody. Today we're going to show you how to build your own hacking lab like this guy who's working with our team. But before we begin, please subscribe and like this video.
An original key to install it. Because I have one from my university, I thought that it will be a nice touch to make my lab in the VMware workstation. So the other things that we're going to need are the Kali Linux ISO from the kali.org/downloads. You can find your own distribution that you want to install. And next we are going to need, for a first step, the Metasploitable VM, which is ready to run in a virtualization program. So to start, we have here the VMware Workstation Pro setup, the last version, and we don't want this, and it is just a simple installation. So yes, we want to check for updates, no here, and as easy as this, we started the installation process. So now that the installation has finished, let's license the program. Here is my key. Let me paste it, enter, and I am ready. Let's open it. And as you can see here, I am ready to start. Okay, we have some updates. Here we have my old VMs, but I have deleted them, so okay, let's wait for the update. Now that the update has finished, let's create the first VM. So for the Metasploitable VM, we just have to open a virtual machine because it is ready to run in a virtualization program. So I have it here. Okay, and we open the VMX file, the only file that it is going to show up. And here we have the Metasploitable 2. So now let's make the setup of the Kali Linux VM, which is a bit bigger because we have to completely install the OS. To do so, let's go to the file menu and the new virtual machine. And now let's select the typical configuration, next, and in the installer disk image file we go and select the Kali Linux ISO that we downloaded earlier. So now we select next, Linux, and we select the Ubuntu 64-bit or any other Linux OS. We can just use the other Linux 3.x kernel, but I'm going to use this for the configuration. Let's give it a name. Let's give the location that we want it to be stored in our disk. I'm going to save it in my VMs folder here, and we hit next. We are going to make a disk of 20 or more gigabytes. You are going to decide it. And we are going to split the virtual disk into multiple files. Next, let's customize the hardware. Here we have the RAM that I'm going to give it 4 gigs of RAM. Processors, I'm going to give it 1, okay, with 1 core or 2 cores. No, let's give it 1. Here we have the ISO that we are going to install the Kali, and for the network adapter we're going to use a NAT, which is used to share the host IP addresses With this way we are going to have a LAN that we are going to connect the Metasploitable with Kali, but we're going to see this in a later episode. So let's close this, let's hit finish, and now let's power on this virtual machine. Okay, here we have the boot menu and we select install. Okay, now we select the language and the where we are for the time and date. Now it loads the appropriate files that we need. We set a root password, we re-enter it, and now we are going to set the partitioning method. I'm going to use the entire disk because it is a VM and we are going to need the amount of storage that we set it up earlier. And this is yes, and we are going I am going to use all files in one partition. You can separate the home partition or separate all the home var and TMP partitions, but I'm going to just use all the files in one partition because it is a VM. And I'm going to finish. I like these settings. Okay, right changes, and the installation starts. So now that the installation has finished of the files, we have to configure the package manager. We hit here yes. Okay, we don't need an HTTP proxy for now, and now it is configuring the apt. Now we're installing the grub bootloader. And now the installation of Kali Linux is complete. We hit continue to finish the installation, and we are ready to run our virtual machines. So let's run the Metasploitable VM also here to be ready after the installation here finishes. As you can see here, the Metasploitable, it starts immediately. And now we are ready to start. As you can see, the login credentials are the MSF admin for username and MSF admin for password. So let's try it. And as you can see, we have admin privileges here, and the installation here needs a bit more. Okay. And now we are ready to start our Kali Linux VM. Okay, now we are ready to log in. Let's see. And we have completely boot up our two VMs that they are our own hacking virtual lab. So for example, here we can see that if we have if config, we have this IP address which is different from my real network IP address, and let's do an nmap scan. To find the metasploitable VM, and to show you that it is a completely connected virtual lab. And of course you can see here this IP address with all these vulnerabilities, and which is the metasploitable VM. Of course, we do not have to connect this VM into our local network, and we have to make a virtual network because, as you can see, it has many vulnerabilities, and we are really vulnerable in our network and of course on the internet, because it runs an Apache web server. It has many vulnerabilities that we are going to exploit in a later video. So thank you for watching. Build your own virtual lab and tell me your ideas, how you saw this video, and of course all these are for educational purposes. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Goodbye.